We go from one depressing thing to another. That is from Ready to Glare. I love Ready to Glare. She is great. I've watched her for many years. But apparently there's a website being called OF for Kids. And it's gonna be something. I didn't watch this video yet. I just seen the title. I'm like, I gotta watch this on stream.
So, I decided that today's topic was going to be lighthearted, and that is the exact reason why I ended up with one of the most depraved, disgusting, heavy things I could have ever found. I think that anytime I think I'm going to talk about something lighthearted, something happens in my brain, and I just find things that are so much worse than the original things I thought were heavy. So, we're going to talk about child exploitation and how that's relating kind of to OnlyFans. We're talking about a children's version of OnlyFans. I'm gonna let you sit with that for a second. I
Merry
had to
Christmas,
sit with it
Bookfish.
for
Thank you.
a while. The fan site authorities say is profiting from the exploitation and sexualization of children. This article is from May of 2024. Interestingly, I've not heard anything about this ever, and I'm wondering if it's because this website is not potentially super famous yet. I don't know why it hasn't been discussed. It hasn't come across any of my radars via also other people who send me things. So let's discuss. In one photo, Rosie lounges on the ground wearing a tight crop top, staring into the camera. In other photos, she poses like a model, looking over her shoulder, pouting. These images have been posted to an online platform where fans can subscribe for exclusive pictures of their favorite influencers. Fans need to be over 18 to subscribe. In other words, adults only. But Rosie is a child. She's only allowed on the platform because one of her parents manages the account.
I've said this before. Parents should not be having accounts for their kids on platforms that are 18 plus. I don't care. You know how many of those parents have been exposed for selling CSAM of their child?
So, right off the bat, the whole concept of you need to be over 18 to subscribe, but you can be under 18 to create the content so long as it's managed by one of your parents, question mark, and I don't even know if it's really one of your parents or if it's just adults who can sign off for you as your guardian, which is not necessarily actually your parents. There are so many problems here because realistically, I don't understand how this is not a loophole. Because for me, if you wanted to, I don't know, sell your kid's art on a platform, or if your kid is making videos and you want to post those, why not do that on Patreon? Why not do that on a bunch of other websites?
It's like, okay, there's this artist on VGen, does absolutely gorgeous work. Like, oh my fucking god. This kid is doing commissions on VGen, and the only reason why they are doing any commissions is because their mom helps manage an account. That kid it's like it's not a helicopter parent type situation, but has enough trust between the parent and child to have that open communication that that child can now start making a sustainable living off of their art.
Where you're showing your kids abilities, right? Like that could be a great way to start a child's career potentially in music, art, whatever the case may be. So I see that there is a non-perverted version here. But the fact that so long as there's a parent managing the account, or an adult rather, you can post kind of whatever. To me, this just seems like a very, very big and consciously made loophole. So really what I think this is doing, I think this is facilitating the buying and selling of child content. Now, that child content, it depends, right? Because it can go from not explicit, though then I'm wondering, why are you selling pictures of your kids?
Yeah, I was about to say, there should be no exclusive paywall child content. Like, what the fuck is that, man?
To more explicit in the sense of things that are dubious, like you'll see later. But realistically, I can't really find many reasons why this needs to exist. And the fact that they need to put a rule in that you need to be 18 to subscribe, but you can be under 18 to make the content so long as you have an adult sign off for you that's just sketchy. There's nothing here that seems like, yes, this is above board. Absolutely not. So it goes on to say, comments such as beautiful, bloody hot, gorgeous, so cute, so attractive, or babe flood Rosie's page, often accompanied by fire or heart emojis. Many of these appear to be from men. They tell her she has the body of a goddess, compliment her cute feet, tell her they're in love with her, and that they want to see more. Subscribers pay about $30 a month to see photos of Rosie, and some pay even more to send her personal messages. This is just one example uncovered by Four Corners, where men are making inappropriate and at times violent and sexual comments about young girls.
I hate it here. Child content should not be a fucking thing. Child influencers should not be a fucking thing. This is disgusting. Again, I have talked about this before, but when it came to fuck, I forgot, but whatever. It's like there's this one mother who had an Instagram, a TikTok, and everything for her 5-year-old child, and there was so many gross comments about it. People were making fan accounts for that child on Instagram. That mother was not working. She was just she didn't even post on any other platforms besides TikTok and Instagram.
I don't know how to put this in a nice way, but if you are a parent in today's day and age, with everything that social media implies, or rather the internet, honestly, because it doesn't even have to be social media at this point, what do you not understand about not posting your child in vulnerable situations? By vulnerable situations is if they're not fully clothed, A, B, unless you have a private Facebook, in which case I guess, but even then, unfortunately, we are getting to that point where even posting on your private account, depending on who follows you, you don't really know, especially if you have people that follow you who you only kind of vaguely know, or you know because they're a friend of a friend. It's dangerous. There are plenty of people who have decided to not post their children's faces, which overall I think is a good idea. But aside from that, posting your children in any form of, and I say nudity, quote unquote, in the sense of if they're wearing a swimsuit, if they're really little kids, sometimes people post them entirely naked because once upon a time, a naked photo of a baby is something you might see in someone's house, right? Like a memory of when a kid was young, whatever. I don't think that's super, super odd back in the day when people had photo albums and the photos stayed in the album. Now that people have their digital photo albums, not only can people who shouldn't have access.
Yeah, no. It's like, it sucks that something that was seen as so innocent, just as early as the 2000s, is now twisted by sick fucking individuals online.
Have access to it, but people can save it, share it, sell it without you knowing. Or you, the parent, might actually be involved, like here, where I think you're complicit in creating material for pedophiles at your child's expense. But I don't understand how it is that people even sign up for these platforms in the first place unless they have some sketchy ideas, some sketchy career trajectory for their child that includes selling pictures of their kids. Just selling pictures of your kids, even if they were fully clothed, would also be weird as fuck, by the way. So there's really no situation here unless, again, you are showing your kids art or showing your kid playing the piano, something that's completely whatever. I just don't understand how people logic this away. How do you rationalize this? Because I cannot find reasons. I barely post my own friends or family, and when I do, it's a one-off. So it's crazy to me that people feel so comfortable posting their children, their young children at that. Often the girls are child influencers or kidfluencers, I hate that, who are using social media for innocent reasons like showing off their dancing skills or trying to secure brand deals. I also think that children securing brand deals, unless it's under particular circumstances, is also weird because it gets into a weird capitalist territory of like child labor, just a lot of stuff. But anyway, but some of their accounts are being targeted by strangers who lust over them, make sexual comments on their pages, and sometimes even download their images, exchanging them on other social media websites. Exactly. In the worst cases, children's photos are being downloaded and then transformed into pornographic deepfakes and uploaded into private chat forums. Some parents Four Corners have spoken to feel resigned to live with this attention, seeing it as a price to pay for making their child a social media star. Others appear to be actively courting the men to make money.
It's like, okay, you see under this picture, As Four Corners found these comments on a section of junior BrandArmy accounts. BrandArmy. I have heard of that website before. VIP subscribers get access to extra content. Don't a lot of influencers still use BrandArmy?
Let me reread a part. Others appear to be actively courting the men to make money. So let's make up a hypothetical here. So there's a little girl, her name's Jane, she's 12. Jane's parents run her BrandArmy account. That's the name of this platform. It's not being mentioned often, but it's BrandArmy. So there are pictures of Jane and she's at the beach in a swimsuit. There are pictures of Jane at the pool, again in a swimsuit. There are pictures of Jane at a family gathering where she's wearing...
Wait, hold on. I just thought about this. This was from a Netflix documentary that I seen a while ago, talking about a kid influencer content house of all things. There's this one girl that was the main focus of it, and her name was like Piper Raquel or something like that. And her mother were accused. Well, her mother was accused of abusing and exploiting the children that was part of that content house. And it's like, again, a whole documentary was made, but no one has ever been charged.
Wearing a crop top and shorts. None of these things are bad if they're not posted elsewhere or if they're just sent in the family group chat where you share the pictures of a gathering. Once you share those online on a paid-for platform, I'm starting to lose faith that you have any good intentions, because why are you posting this stuff for payment in the first place unless you are aware that certain people need this outlet for other reasons? So pretending that Jane exists, you then, as the parent, go in and pretend to be Jane and flirt with these creepy men pretending to be Jane. So what? The thing is, the logistics of doing a lot of this creepy, perverted shit are crazy. Because imagine this, if a parent wants to court these men to make money, you're going to pretend to be Jane, right? Because this is supposedly Jane's account. The men aren't interested in the parents. So you're going to message the...
Okay, so these parents are basically their child's pimp. That's what this whole situation is the parents acting as a pimp for their child. I hate that.
These men pretending to be a 12-year-old girl? Are you going to make grammar and spelling mistakes so you can impersonate a 12-year-old girl so these men lose their fucking shit because they're pedophiles and send money or do whatever else? So you're engaging with pedophiles who are being creepy in regards to your child in order to make money off that child in order to make them a social media star, question mark, question mark, question mark. Is that what we're doing here? And if that is what we're doing here, why do I have to sit here and explain why that shit's fucked up, you're going to hell, and you should have your children taken away from you by CPS? If we were in a place that was ruled by me, you would be in prison by now.
If we were in a world ruled by me, they would all be shot. Parents that are exploiting their children, they would not be alive on this earth anymore. They do not deserve to be alive for abusing their children like that.
Just so you know. But anyway, I mean, prison's the best you'll get. So anyway, there are many parents who know exactly what's going on, says Lynn Swanson Kennedy, who works with Collective Shout, a not...
Collective Shout is such a fucking double-edged sword. Because they go after things like this, but then they also want internet censorship. They want internet censorship, but they also expose things like this. It's such a fucking double-edged sword.
Not-for-profit organization that lobbies against the objectification of women and children. They willfully turn a blind eye, justifying the means by the ends, whether it's fame or profit. Four Corners is not publishing the real names or images of the children we describe in this story to protect their safety. Rosie is a pseudonym. So I was looking into a description of exactly what Four Corners is, and it says that it is the home of Australian investigative journalism. Parents selling exclusive online access to their children, and herein lies the problem, because why does anyone need to access your children period. One of the sites enabling this sort of activity is BrandArmy. Like OnlyFans, it allows people to start a channel and make money from subscriptions, tips, private messaging, and live streams, but it doesn't allow nudity or sex on its platforms. BrandArmy describes itself as a place for athletes, musicians, models, and creatives to grow their brand and get paid. It has allowed children aged 13 and over to have their own channels if they are managed and run by a parent. Meanwhile, the people subscribing to these children's channels must be over 18. Four Corners has found several children's accounts posted with suggestive captions and attracting inappropriate comments. The unfortunate thing about places like BrandArmy that now, in my mind at least, have a terrible reputation is that, first of all, there are plenty of places like this that already exist. Like Patreon would be the first thing I would think of if someone wanted to monetize their kid's talent or, start a social media career for their kid that may relate to a talent like being a musician, whatever. That being said, the fact that parents can control this, I think that was supposed to be a safety net, but it's not really a safety net when we consider how many parents are out there monetizing their children. There are some family vloggers that I think are fine, but even family vloggers, there's a big discussion about how much children have to perform in these vlogs, the fact that these children seemingly have no privacy in certain vlogs. And that is a tame version of what is going on BrandArmy. So you understand that having the parent be there is questionable at best because some parents, unfortunately, are not looking out for their children's well-being. Some of these parents are basically pimping out their children on that platform because your platform has flimsy rules and you know it has flimsy rules, and that's what you're banking off of. In my opinion, allegedly. Among them are young Australian influencers with parent-run accounts whose pages contain photos of the girls wearing tight clothes or swimsuits. For a monthly fee, their subscribers get a
I hate this. What the fuck is this? Hate it.
behind-the-scenes look at the girls' lives, which includes photos, videos, and other content. For even more money, they can send the girls messages or unlock extra quote-unquote exclusive photos. I don't even think I need to comment here. BrandArmy says it no longer allows children to sign up, but Four Corners has found dozens of underage girls still on its platform. Some international accounts offer shots of the girls wearing a bikini and riding a horse, wearing quote-unquote short shorts, as well as doing dance stretches. They are also often littered with suggestive emojis, including winking or poking a tongue out. I think a lot of what's happening on social media that alarms me is the fact that people are losing touch with what is appropriate and inappropriate behavior online, and especially for children. Also because, let's remember, as much as allegedly the parents are managing these accounts, children, especially if they're 13 or so, they're going to see what you're posting. They're going to see the emojis you're putting. They're going to see the caption, and they will, to some extent, learn something from it. So you are setting up these kids, especially if you're doing these weird, provocative things, you are setting them up to have a very distorted understanding of what being online means. And I really do think this is something we need to be very, very careful with, because children, as it is, including young teens and teenagers really, they already have a relatively loose grasp of how the internet works, in the sense of digital footprints, the fact that deleting things does not mean that they're gone, the basic notion of the internet is forever, the fact that your picture can be screenshot and sold or used for other purposes, especially now with AI. I'm so alarmed at what this will do to children.
Yeah, it's like kids see other kid influencers and think that what they do is normal and okay. Especially the more concerning children influencers, family accounts, shit like that. So at this point, even with basic internet access, kids are set up to fail. They are set up to fail. Again, it is up to the responsibility of the parents to keep their kid in check. But unfortunately, with how much the internet is basically necessary to function in society, kids are just set up for failure, set up to be exploited by somebody.
Children going on in the future as well, because the introduction you have to social media frames the way you view it and you use it. So unless these same parents who are posting the provocative pictures with their fuck ass emojis in the caption, unless they have a discussion with their kid later, their kid is going to associate social media with very particular types of pictures and behaviors, which down the line I do not think will pan out well if they're not traumatized prior to down the line. After being shown Rosie's BrandArmy account, eSafety Commissioner Julie Inman Grant described it as gross. "This is a child," she said. "This is selling and commodifying your child's innocence, and we're never going to be able to sterilize the internet. These images will follow this young woman throughout her life." That's BrandArmy profiting from exploitation and the sexualization of children. When Four Corners flagged accounts featuring sexualized content with BrandArmy, the company took them down. BrandArmy declined to comment for this investigation, but says on its website that it interviews the parents of junior account holders before they're given a channel, and that it actively moderates.
Wow. Well, besides the whole Wiz developer thing, I don't think I've ever seen a bigger lie than that. BrandArmy says that it interviews the parents of junior account holders and actively monitors the site. I think that is a big old fucking lie. I think that is a huge fucking lie.
The site. Personally, I would be relatively comfortable calling bullshit on the fact that they interview every single parent who wants to open an account, because realistically, most people who want to open a social media account want to do that directly and without anyone getting in the way. Let's put it that way. So the concept of them actually interviewing parents would make me think that most parents would lose interest, because I think that a lot of the parents on here do not have good intentions, right? So I think the two things put together of like these parents of like, I just want to commodify my child's innocence, they don't want to have that interview. So if they see that they will, they'll just go elsewhere, right? And on the other hand, whichever parent who's on there for quote unquote normal reasons, like I said, showing your kids art, whatever, I also don't know if they'd be down to be interviewed either. So it's like both of these groups, I guess if you have nothing to hide, you're fine with it, but I guess most people don't necessarily have the time on their hands to be interviewed for a social media platform. So I don't know about that. Also, it depends on how many employees you have. If it's still a small company, how does that work? Do you have a bunch of employees who are doing this? How are they being paid? See, so like there are a lot of things that don't connect.
Yeah, I don't believe they're interviewing anybody. Or they'll just email like a Q&A thing. Be like, "Okay, answer this question." "Okay, yeah, that's good enough. All right, guys." Fucking
To, oh yeah, we're vetting everyone. And what you're going to interview the parents, what does that do anyway? Even if they did have the worst of intentions, do you think they're going to sit here and be like, "Hey, yeah, I want to sell pictures of my child to pedophiles"? I'm honestly just really confused as to how all of this is supposed to work, and how this is supposed to work in an above board fashion, which honestly, I don't even know if that was ever the goal here at all, which is even more terrifying, but I digress. Anyway, do let me know what you think in the comments about having platforms that allow children to post on there with their guardians, parents, whatever.
yeah, no. I hate child influencers. They should not be a thing. It is icky. It is gross.